in any other month in the history of KUB. There wasn't a particular peak day that was outstanding. We had a number of days that were, say, in our top 10 or top 20 all time. But what we had was every single day we sold a lot of gas. Similarly, on the electric system, our electric sales in December, we sold more electricity this December than we sold in any other December. It wasn't all-time sales because we sell a lot of power during the summer. But we sold more power this December than any other December during the history of KUB. Again, both those things are a reflection of the temperature. It was a very, very cold December. And I'm happy to report that although both systems were run very, very hard, everything performed very well, and we didn't really have any significant issues related to the heavy loadings of the systems. Now, in addition to the cold weather, the other thing you're probably also familiar with is that we've had a lot of snow, a lot of ice, a lot of precipitation. This is a listing of all the different things we got from the Weather Bureau that occurred over the past 30, 45 days. You know, starting the first part of December, then you can all remember we had a white Christmas. Then right after the first year, we had snow, and we had snow last week. It seemed like it was on the ground for a week. So there have been a lot of precipitation, a lot of storms, if you will, winter storms this week. And in fact, I guess you're aware they're predicting another 2 inches of snow tonight. And my guess is you'll find out about Monday they're looking at another snow. So, you know, we're in kind of a cycle right now where we're getting a lot of winter snows that we're having to deal with this year. You know, whenever there's a winter storm, or any storm for that matter, we marshal all of our resources to prepare and be in a position to respond. I think WBR and some of these other television stations have shown TDOT and a lot of stuff where they're preparing and putting out salt trucks and stuff. Well, KUB is no different. We actually spend a great deal of time and have a lot of standard operating procedures of how to get ready for storms, how to make preparations. Over the past 30 days, it seems like almost every day we're having some sort of meeting and including a conference call with the National Weather Service for the snow that's fixed to happen tonight. We had a meeting yesterday, 2:30, that included the National Weather Service to hear their predictions, hear their timelines of when the snow was going to hit, when the snow was going to get finish. So that goes on a lot. We've got another meeting scheduled today at 2 o'clock with the National Weather Service as well for the same thing. And when we get in those meetings, well, what are we doing? Well, we're trying to get a sense of how much snow and when, basically. So what do we do when we know a storm's coming? Well, the first thing we do is we postpone things that are out of the normal. For example, if we were going to do some maintenance on our telephone switch, and we were going to have the telephone switch down across a weekend or a time frame to perform maintenance, we'll say, no, we're not going to do that maintenance on the phone system because we might have customers needing to call in here and report outages. So we don't do that maintenance. If we have a substation that has a big transformer out that we need to change oil on or do some maintenance on that particular transformer, we'll put it back in service so that we have the system and everything at KUB operating as normally and as stoutly as we can during an anticipated storm. We then look to all the various departments, whether it be the transportation people that have to work on the trucks or the stores people, the managed inventories, IT people, everybody in the organization contacted to make sure about availability of workers during a potential storm. So we understand what resources are available. Then once we figure out what all the resources we have available, we look at what the anticipated storm is. We have guidelines based upon the number of inches of snow predicted, so on and so forth, as to how many people we think we need to have at work. And then we'll schedule those resources. And over the course of this past 30 to 45 days, we've scheduled a lot of people and a lot of resources to be available to respond to storms. And to the Weather Service's credit, actually they've been pretty accurate. I don't know if y'all noticed it or not, but certainly from where I've been sitting, the forecasters have been pretty accurate on the snows this winter. And they have occurred, and the storms have occurred but I'm happy to report we really haven't had significant issues this winter. I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but there haven't been significant outages associated with all the snow that we've been having repeatedly across this winter. With that said, all winter storms are not alike. I don't want to predict it from now that if it snows at night that we're not going to have problems, because storms aren't alike. And let me talk a little bit about that. You know, depending on the amount of snow, if we get 12 inches of snow, we're going to have more problems than if we get 1 inch of snow. It stands to reason. The type of snow makes a big difference. We had a 3 or 4 inch snow, you know, a week or so ago, I guess. But if you were out there and you did any shoveling, you know, if the wind blew, it blew away. It means a real light snow. So if it's a real heavy snow that sits on top of a tree and it makes it bend over or a branch break off, that has a different effect on us than a real light snow. So the type of snow matters. If there's ice associated with it, enough ice can pull a line off a pole. Enough ice can break a pole. So the amount of ice makes a big difference to us. Whether or not there's wind, you know, ice plus wind in particular is like a double dip bad thing for us to have happen. So wind factors into it as well. And then finally, obviously, depending on the state of your vegetation management program, where you are there will drive everything that we're talking about here. So far this winter, we haven't had big issues. Maybe that'll continue going forward, but a little caveat here that everything's not always the same. Not wanting to sound too bad about us being lucky so far. The reality is we're getting better. You know, I think you've all seen the reliability charts. This is the latest reliability chart with the blue line showing where we're at down at the bottom right now. And you know, we've left the chart as it's been for a number of years now. And you'll notice looking at the chart that up in the upper left-hand here, it's all clear. Well, why do we even have that chart? Well, it used to be our lines are way up there. We're up there where it is now all clear. There's no lines there. We've gotten better. The system's getting better. We've changed so many things, lots of little parts and pieces, getting better and better, and we're making a difference. So far, we haven't had the big storms driving us, haven't had the big outages as a result, and I think we are getting better, so it's good news in that regard. With that, I was going to turn it over to Don and talk about customer issues related to this, but I'll be happy to answer any questions.
It's actually not going to be a question from you, but for sure. In his slide where 35% colder weather, more demand for electric and gas, would we, under your presentation you made, would we have a cash flow lag as a result of all of that demand and our billings that have been in place?
Yes, particularly where those peaks would come on the tail end of the month, we would be going ahead and paying for it, and the bill cycles for that period would come later.
Mike, just quick, I know in the summertime when it doesn't rain, TVA complains that they can't generate hydroelectricity enough and it costs more. Are there issues in the wintertime? Does more rain, all this precipitation help, or not really?
Yeah, actually, you don't hear TVA talk as much about it during the winter. You know, if I go back in time, there have been occasions where they've said, well, our coal pile got all froze up, okay? Or there's been other occasions in the past where there have been transportation issues where the coal piles start getting down because they can't get the trains to deliver. You know, that's just my longevity here. Generally speaking, they have more issues during the summer than they do during the winter. And that's also reflective of that they have higher costs during the summer as well.
You had mentioned, again, on the earlier slide about normal. How do we determine normal?
The Weather Bureau actually determines that, and I think it's a 20-year average that they move every 10 years. It's 30 years? Okay, 30-year average. They move every 10 years. There's normal for each month. There's normal for each day. And again, like I said, there's both cooling degree days and heating degree days.
And we set our budgets, are we setting on normal values? Is that what we do?
Yes, we do. Well, Mark can answer better than me, but yeah, all of our projected revenues and expenses are predicated upon norms.